Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark and this is Visual Scriptures. Faith is something that is not new to believers in God's Word. It is something that we are taught about quite often, and there have been countless books and articles written on the subject. However, often faith is spoken about in terms of the benefit that it can bring to an individual. It is rarely spoken about, however, in terms of the glory that it can bring to God. And that is what I want to focus on in this video. Let me explain by having a look at the book of Daniel. Many of us have either read or been taught about the book of Daniel, particularly the first portion of the book, which contain the iconic stories of Daniel and his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Now these friends were given the Babylonian names Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which you might be more familiar with. Now Daniel and his friends were learning to live life in exile in Babylon. Now the first of the iconic stories that occur in the book of Daniel occur in chapter 3, when Daniel's friends are threatened by the king that they would be thrown into a blazing furnace if they refused to worship an idol made of gold. We read in Daniel chapter 3 verse 15, the king saying to the three Jews in rage that if they did not worship the idol made of gold, he would throw them immediately into the blazing furnace. He said, "Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" In other words, the king was mocking the God of the Hebrews, implying that he could not save them from him. Now I think that most people in their situation would do all they can to save their lives, even if it meant bowing down to an idol. But these three Jews were faithful to their God, remembering the commandment given to them on Mount Sinai to not bow down to any image. The three replied to the king, "If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." In other words, they told the king that they would keep their faith in God whether they live or die. Now, furious, the king ordered the furnace to be heated 3 times hotter than usual, to the point that the people throwing the Jews in had died from the heat. But despite this, the three miraculously survived with not a single burn on their bodies or clothes. Now the outcome of this miracle was that the king ordered that they were brought out of the fire, and he praised God. In fact, he decreed that no one could speak against God. In verse 28, we read that the king said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command, and were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way." Wow, what a 180. The king went from pretty much mocking God to essentially praising him in the span of probably a few minutes. Now Daniel himself was caught in a very similar situation in chapter 6, in the iconic story where he was thrown into a lion's den for committing to pray to God despite a decree being made prohibiting him from doing so. Now the lion's den was considered a sure death, as the lions would be hungry and would consume anything that would enter. Despite this, Daniel emerged from the den the next day without a single wound, which resulted in the king at the time, King Darius, writing to all nations and peoples of every language in all the earth the following: "May you prosper greatly. I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed. His dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. So in both of these stories, we find that despite the opposition that they faced, Daniel and his friends kept to their faith and commitment to God, which resulted in God being glorified by others. And that is the key takeaway of today's video. You see, faith can have a powerful impact on the lives of others and the glorification of God. When we give in to fear, we tend to just jump the gun just like everyone else and to try fix our problems ourselves or run to someone else or something else for help. By doing this, by not giving your problems or worries to God, you don't let the situation bring glory to Him. On the other hand, when we have faith despite the odds, like Daniel and his friends had, we create the opportunity for God to demonstrate His power and for our actions to show others that our God is the King of Kings, the King and Creator of the entire universe. That He is the one to be praised and worshipped, and that He has authority over the entire world and every single situation, that nothing can change this. In Hebrew, the word for faith is emunah, which, unlike the traditional English interpretation, is an active process. Faith is not just a mere belief, but it is accompanied with action. To have emunah, to have faith, is to be steadfast in God's word no matter the outcome. So, next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, one in which your faith may be on the verge of wavering, think about the situation similar to how Daniel and his friends did. Our God can save us, but even if He does not, we will keep our faith because He is the true King. Live or die, we will keep to our faith and we will be faithful to Him. We will commit our lives to bring Him glory. Faith is not just for our individual benefit. No, it is also for the benefit of God's kingdom. I hope you found this video beneficial and you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to this channel for more videos like this one. Until next time, stay safe and remember to keep that faith. Bye.